Thank you for joining us. This is Don Chaddick, editor of The Telegraph, part of the Gold Country Media family of newspapers. In this video report, we'll be looking at Red Bank and Mormon Island, two areas of our rich mining heritage that have been lost to the waters of Folsom Lake for almost 60 years. For 2 weeks, Philip Wood, our photographer, and I scoured the beach looking for clues. We found bits of nails, bricks. On our third attempt, we found it.
Part of an old, what appears to be a bridge footing.
We had found something. But what? A bridge footing? Is this why we came all the way out here? We searched around the area, turning up more bricks, rubble. Then we came across signs of an old road, parts of the Natoma ditch, an old foundation. Small, not what we were expecting. Around the hill, we followed what was a roadway at one time, discovering more artifacts along the way, including an old steel cable tied around a long since cut down tree. As we were about to give up, finding no more evidence of our elusive Red Bank, Philip Wood called me over. Apparently, we had found it.
Our photographers just called me over to check out something on this side. And it appears we have found another building. Part of a, you can see walls, partial rooms. It's pretty incredible out here. We've been walking now for more than an hour looking for just this sort of thing. And it appears we have found it. Here we have old dishes, parts of old china, old glass. This is obviously, again, part of something, this little rubble area. And here we have part of another foundation. This isn't too far from the other one we found. You can see brick. Wall. And of course we just found a lot of artifacts that Philip stumbled on, where hikers out here find them and set them aside for other people to look at. Of course it is illegal to take artifacts from a state park such as this. Here you see more artifacts people have put out. Looks like all sorts of different, including an old buckle. This will leave you a little rusty. We're coming over here to another set of ruins. Our photographer is busy snapping away photos while I record our adventure here on video. You can hear a boater out there. Well, here we go. This is right up to the water line. Very large metal rods. pretty incredible out here. It's amazing that all this is still here.
Later that same day, we met with Artie Davies and her son Jim. Artie is 94 years old.
Artie,
Yes.
But it's still sharp as a tack.
when did you move to Mormon Island? How old were you?
I was 6 years old.
If the lake keeps dropping any lower, I know there's some areas that'll never come out, but what would you expect some people might be able to see?
Oh, they went out there last year, and my daughter went out. And did you want to go out? You went out, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you could see the barn of not the barn itself, but
The house is out.
where all the houses had been, and the barn, and I guess the barn wasn't quite out, huh?
Well, the barn was fully out, but the winery wasn't fully out. The winery's not out right now. It's just starting to come out.
Oh, okay.
But right now, the house is out, and the barn is out.
Oh.
What are some of your earliest memories of Mormon Island?
Well, the river. We loved the river. My brother and I would walk down to the river and swim every day in the summertime. When it was discovered by some people that were in Sacramento, and they were on their way. Oh, that's when they discovered gold there.
Well, they had been up visiting Coloma. They had just discovered gold in Coloma.
Yeah.
And they were on their way back, and they just were kind of
But I
looking for
wonder
gold on their way back, and that's
when
when
did they
found it there.
name it Mormon Island?
Well, because they were Mormons that found the gold.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And the island itself was just a sandbar, really.
Yeah, it was a
Gravel
sand.
bar.
Otherwise, it was just a river.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever been back out there yourself since the dam was built and it was flooded?
Not. I think one time, then, which several years ago, we had there were 3 houses on it, wasn't there?
Yeah.
3 houses. And Goodnight, the big barn, and a lot of other barns, and the lady that lived there lived in the big house, and we lived in just a little house. And then when she moved away and finally just had sold us a place and everything, well, my folks moved on to my mother and dad, and they started a little dairy at the end of the ranch out there, and they lived, and then they finally lived in the, well, who else lived in that little house?
Which little house? The one we all moved into when we first got there?
Yeah.
Well, Rick lived in it after we moved out. And
Okay. Well, we moved into the little house, and the lady lived in what we call the big house, which was close to the big barn. And then when she moved away, we moved into the big house, and my mom and dad moved into the little house. So.
in fact, this house here was moved from Mormon Island. This house we're sitting in now. Dad moved it with some old trucks.
This house, yeah.
Yeah.
Only this was the kitchen, and that room was cut in half, and the one was the dining room, and the other was the front room. And Bud built, when we got it in here, then he moved, put this onto it, and set the window out further, and turned, built 2 more bedrooms on it, and he transformed it. And so this house was out there.
Oh wow, okay. And when was this here?
Around 1950, 49, 50, 51.
51. We moved here in 51. That's when they put in the dam. We had to move.
And how did you feel about that?
Oh, we felt badly. We loved it out there.
Well, thank you guys very much for
Well,
taking the time to speak to us.
Oh my God.